proud members of the Podbelly Network.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, come on, you know I don't watch that shit.
Why not? Too scared?
No, it's just what's the point? They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
Hello! And welcome to episode.
I really don't know.
Oh, my Lord. No idea.
It's like the day after New Year's.
Yeah.
I couldn't fucking tell you.
It's also
70-something.
It's also not. Is it the
Could
day
be
after?
80. Is it the day after New Year's?
No,
I don't
it is
know
the day after
when
New
we are.
This is.
I don't know when the podcast is.
Yeah. So you guys have heard a couple episodes since New Year's. This is our first recording since New Year's. And Kim and I are living in a full-blown limbo. We don't know who, when, what, where, why we are.
We are Kim and Kat Stay Alive.
Maybe.
We're a horror movie comedy podcast.
And we are going to tell you the entirety of a movie, spoilers and all. And Kim Burns this week is going to try and stay alive in it.
That's me.
Yeah. Yep.
I thought that maybe we should try to say who's who at the beginning.
So before
because
each of us
did
talk,
have a person. Kim. I don't know if that differentiated our voices at all. But someone listened recently. Oh, it was the guy that I'm going out with. Asked, how do I tell who's who?
That's so fucking weird to me because, like, I obviously listen to us ad nauseum because I think we're hilarious and adorable. I don't think our voices sound at all alike.
I don't think he was saying the voices sounded like. He's like, which voice is you?
Oh.
And which voice is your friend?
Oh.
And I was like, valid. And I was like,
Right.
well, which episode do you listen to? And I was like, I'm the one telling the tale, or she's the one telling the tale.
okay,
It's like how I told him, but like,
Do you know what episode he was listening to? I'm just curious.
I think he did Ready or Not.
So that was you telling it. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess that's true. When I first started listening to My Favorite Murder, I could tell the voices apart, but I didn't know which
who
was
was who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they do, like a thing where they're like, that's Georgia.
And that's Ketrin.
Right.
I don't know which way to go.
I know.
I was like, should we be we or we be them?
Guys. Anyway, this is Ketrin speaking, and I'm going to say Gina holes out.
Tits up from Kim. Ketrin just wrote me a Christmas card. Sorry. Let me take this. She wrote me a Christmas card that I just read. Like, she just handed it to me because she's mailing them out currently.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thanks. Way to save a stamp. And then I read it and she wrote our little cheers saying in it, but she fucking wrote it wrong. I was like, way to write our own saying wrong. She wrote,
so dumb.
Gina holes out, tits out.
Just everything out. Just all of it
Woo!
out. So good. I got my
Boobs
parents.
a flying.
I got my parents into peanut butter whiskey now too.
Fucking everyone. God damn it, Screwball.
I know.
Give us. You know what we decided today? We would love a sponsorship, but even if we don't get a sponsorship, if you could just give us like a lifetime supply.
Yeah, honestly.
Just send us a fucking case.
And we've
And
decided,
we'll drink it constantly and talk about it constantly. So many people have tagged me
So
and
many.
told me that they are drinking it simply because of us, or taking a picture and sent it to us being like, I bought this because you guys talk about it.
So Screwball whiskey, we're just
send
gonna
us a
keep
case.
harassing you.
Just send us a case and we'll
Please.
drink it forever and
Yeah.
keep talking about it.
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know where my brain is. Can you go find my brain?
I've been watching my movie for 4 days now, and
I
it was a doozy.
cannot-
I came over Ketrin's really late because I was finishing it this morning. It just took a long time
But you won't know what movie she's talking about till next
week. But
I'm gonna know in a matter of hours, which is very exciting for me. I watched a movie.
did you?
Yep.
Good.
Um,
It's good.
because
That's what we do.
Yep, because I had to watch a movie for this podcast. Do you want to know what I watched?
Yeah. Do we have any other things?
I
Do you
don't-
want to talk about anything?
Think so. Do you have
Okay.
anything?
Bye.
See you later. I don't think so. I am on a 2-day streak of my morning ritual spell that I'm
Nice.
very excited about. I pulled a very, very, very awesome tarot card for the year of 2020
Ooh.
that literally fell out of the deck.
Nice. Love when that happens.
And it's the sun. So
Nice.
I will post what the sun. I posted it on my own Instagram, so you can go look at it there at Ketrin P. But otherwise, I'll share what the card is on our
Great
Twitter and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. But it's a very good card. Means things are going well for us.
I'm gonna read it. We hung out on New Year's, and our friend Steph. I guess we can say her full name. It's weird because we just call her by her full name. So that I was like, we've said her name before. She's okay.
We know multiple Stephs, so we have to differentiate.
But
even though we
call
the
other one
Steph
different.
Grizz.
Yeah. So, anyway, she pulled cards for us from like a animal spirit animal deck, and it was like past, present, future, and my like past and present were like, you're the best, you're amazing, and then my future was like the worst card that you can pull. Like it was literally the card that like her friend pulled and was like, ooh, I'm sorry.
What was it?
The mouse.
The mouse. Interesting.
So my present is zebra, and I forget what the past was, but both of them were like, you're the best, and it was like, go on an adventure. They both said to go on an adventure.
Yeah. But you have to remember, like, this is what I've had to tell people as I'm learning more about tarot.
The future you can change.
The future you can change. And also, there is always a lesson. Like, all that card was telling you is like some obstacles to look out for.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. It's never.
It basically said don't overthink things and don't overanalyze shit.
I mean,
and I was like, all right,
there you go. Like that's totally valid. Like I've definitely had to explain to a lot of people, there is no bad reading. Like there is no negative reading.
No.
But I hear you. I hear you.
I'm partly being facetious.
Yeah.
But like who knows what the worst card is in there.
Yeah.
But it was truly one that Steph had already talked about as being like,
and she was like
discussed as a bad card. But she pulled it as like her past at one point, and she was just like, yeah, no, that was me in the past. Like her friend was like, ooh, sorry, and she was like, no, but that was spot on. And I was like, well, shit. I was like, clearly I was killing it in the past and present, and my future is
just something to look out for.
Figure it out, girl.
Yeah. Just something to look out for. That's it.
Bringing my zebra energy into the future.
Yeah, I pulled like the death card for people a couple times, and they're like, ah! And I'm like, no, it's literally nothing. Like it's literally nothing. It just means the end of a cycle. That's it. Which could actually, in some instances, be the most positive card. So,
but 100%. But even like the little words, like it was because it's like the animal, and then like the 3 or 4 main
Keywords.
words about it, you know. And it was like both were just like amazing, and then this was like,
yeah,
like it was just clearly positive cards and negative cards.
Yeah. Oh, I'm curious. I kind of want to read it now. Stephanie said she wanted to get me that deck. I can't wait.
I took pictures. I have it for you.
Oh, sweet.
You can read it.
Okay. So yeah, that's what our New Year is, guys.
Did you have fun on New Year's Eve?
I had so much fun.
Me too.
It was so exactly what I wanted, where it was just like fucking chill with my core people. It was so great. It was just because I get really, more than other holidays, very stressed out on New Year's Eve about transportation.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Especially in LA.
And especially in the last couple years, where Eric and I are just so fucking gun shy about being in the car in dangerous situations.
Right,
like it just makes us feel so fucking weird. So as soon as cousin was like, I'm doing something, we were like, it's in Glendale, let's go. So yeah, it was just exactly how we both wanted to ring in the new year, and we were both asleep by 12:30, and it was fucking great. I loved it, every second of it. And what did you do after New Year's?
I spent New Year's with you.
Yes.
I had fun because my New Year's was going to be one of two things, or it's probably going to be both. I was going to come to hang out with you guys, and then the guy that I've been going out with was like going to some fucking club thing, ironically in Santa Monica, where I used to live.
Dumb.
And I was
That's
like,
so funny.
oh my God, I literally handed in my keys yesterday.
That's so funny.
And but then when I looked, it was sold out, but it was like a place neither of us have been. Plus it was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And I was like he's like, kind of, it was like I could have just gone and like seen, and like once he got there, he was like, yeah, you totally kind of just like come in, it wouldn't have been a big deal. Anyway, it didn't work out because it was like blah, blah, blah. He tried to get me in like from a bunch of different people. It didn't work out, which I actually think was for the best.
I think it was too.
Because I really had a great time with our core people and it was nice.
And it was like a really positive, intentional vibe.
Yeah.
Which was great.
And we just like, I liked it actually.
Me too. Thanks, Cuz, for hosting.
Thanks, Cuz. I had a good time. And then I saw him later anyway. So really I got both anyway. So I was going to do both and then I got both.
Yeah. And you didn't have to pay
it was just at different times.
$20 trillion and drive all over God's creation and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It was great. Perfect. All right. I'm going to tell you a movie now.
Okay.
This is a movie that you wanted to watch, but I had already seen it. The Invitation?
Yay!
Yeah. Okay. So The Invitation came out in 2015. It was directed by Karyn Kusama, who
she has done things.
Cool.
Click on her name.
Okay.
Wait, when? 2015? I
2015.
Why do I know her name?
Well, she's done Jennifer's Body.
Yeah, that's why I know her name.
That's why you know her name. Yeah. It was written by Phil Hay. Hey. So I had actually seen this before, and it was interesting because I had a very different reaction to it this time than I did the first time I watched it. That. And I watched it with Eric the first time. So I'll get to that.
All I can assume is that there's old people in it, because the main reason I've heard of it is because if people don't follow us on Instagram, every week we do like a little like guess what movie we're doing next week thing. And I'll post like a picture that's like a hint and people have to like guess what it is. And multiple times it was for two different movies, the Taking of Deborah Logan and I think American Gothic. People guessed The Invitation. So it was like whatever it was, like a picture of
old people in it.
Wait, are you being serious?
I'm being serious.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different movie then.
There are no old people in it.
I can't tell. You're saying it in such a weird way that I can't tell if you're joking.
No,
or not.
I'm not joking, and I'm trying. My gears are turning as to like what you're talking about. That's so interesting.
Wait, let me find just the cover of this, because then maybe now I'm like, wait, was I thinking of something else? The Invitation. Oh, I am thinking of someone else. Thinking else. All right, then I don't know. Then I saw this on a list somewhere as a good movie.
Well, it's definitely like on several lists of like a great movie of the decade. Like people are posting like all of their like.
That's why I added it to my list.
Yeah.
I like added a shit ton of movies that were like, here are my favorite horror movies of the decade.
Yeah,
and it was on there.
Yeah. So,
damn, what's the fucking movie that I'm talking about, everyone?
Well, there's something. Please help us. But
you guys know it looks like a cross stitch thing.
There's something. I feel like it's something about being at grandma's house.
Yeah. And cookies or something.
And cookies. Yeah.
Wait, is that a movie we did? No, I'm kidding.
No.
Wow, my brain.
Oh my God, you guys.
I'm a little tiny mouse right now trying to figure out my life.
Please bear with us. Like, I literally feel like my brain is like floating.
I feel a little wonky.
Yeah.
Woo.
I think this is the first time I've had to like actively use my brain
to speak.
Quite a moment. So bear with us, Sammys. We are doing our very, very fucking best. And that is all that you can ask of us right now.
Should we do a second shot?
Yeah, that'll help. Okay. Should we do a second shot?
Maybe like a half shot.
Okay, let's do
let's just fill it up and we'll have it by our side in case we need it.
Sounds good. Why is this our solution?
I just feel like, look, I've been watching my movie for 4 days. I had to go to work.
I can't open it.
I was up till 5 a.m. on New Year's Eve. I'm tired and my brain is wonky. Okay. And nothing helps me like Screwball Whiskey, promo code kkSam.
Jesus.
Kedron's not talking into the microphone right now because she's pouring us whiskey. Thank you. She almost spilled on herself. I'll give you the play-by-play.
I almost spilled it everywhere, you guys. Eric's gonna be so mad. I keep turning my head away from the mic. He's gonna be like, "What were you doing?" And I'll be like, "I don't know." Where's my pen? Here it is.
I also feel like I haven't seen you in a long. You know, sometimes we sit down and I'm like, I just need to talk to Ketrin. I don't know why. I have nothing specific to say to her. I just like feel like I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
But we literally saw each other
less than 36 hours ago.
Yeah.
But I feel the same way. I'm like,
hey,
how are you?
What's up? How's your life?
Oh, God. Well, you just heard us catching up because we basically just talked about anything we would talk about even if we weren't being recorded.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say.
What?
My nails. I'm starting an ASMR YouTube.
Oh my God.
I'm fucking doing it. I'm doing it literally tomorrow. I'm going to like start researching.
This is what we fucking talked about on New Year's Eve.
Because 2 people there really liked ASMR videos.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think I've ever heard them. And I get that it gives you a tingly or whatever. We've talked about ASMR
We
on
have
this
talked
podcast
about ASMR.
before.
Why did we talk about ASMR?
I don't recall. I know.
Sammy's, why have we talked
I know
about
we had
ASMR?
an in-depth conversation to the point of posting about it.
Yeah.
But so then they like, Eric like let me listen to some. And I was like,
what did he have you listen to? Which one that he listens to?
One girl who was like, I don't know,
Was
taking
it
you
the
through a
nap time?
store or something. No, the nap time one I heard one first, and maybe she was like Armenian or something like
Yes.
that. That one I kind of liked because I couldn't understand what she was saying. It was also we were like in a group of people, so like it was just like I couldn't understand the words. I could just like hear sounds, and I was like, that feels nice.
Yeah.
Then he showed me the nap time one, and I was like, I didn't like it as much because she had a lot of mouth sounds,
Which is what I like. It's interesting.
you
'cause
like this.
I only like it if I'm intentionally listening to it. Ugh. If it's happening without my consent, I do not like it.
This is
without my
you're
consent.
trying to hear.
I do not like without my consent.
The sound
Also,
of my mouth.
Mitch from Wayland is going to murder us right now. He fucking hates that sound
I do too.
so much.
And then the pickle eating, I did not like
oh my
at
God,
all.
I fucking love the pickle eating.
Okay, but I promise you we'll get to this movie. But side note, for 10 years, maybe. I don't know. How long has Kelly been married to Keith?
I mean, I've been with Eric for 10 and a half. So
when did Keith come to town? This isn't about you and Eric.
no, but I'm saying, did Keith?
No, Keith, I think Keith is after.
Keith is after because
So, like,
Eric knew of some past
at least
boyfriends
like
of
5 to 8 years
Yeah,
or so.
something like that.
Our friend Kelly is married to this guy Keith, and every once in a while we'll get together and him and I will talk about how we need to create a website. And it's because I'm a hand model. And he's like, we'll just create a website and it's called KB Touches Stuff. And I would just like make cakes and like do random shit with my hands. Nothing sexual, but it would be for people who have like hand fetishes.
Totally.
And the idea was before like YouTube was huge in the way that you could make a lot of money from it.
Yeah.
Where it would be more you have to kind of set up a low-key porn site a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I was like, that seems challenging about how to actually monetize it.
Yeah.
Now
like,
you could just do it through YouTube and you monetize through there. And then we talked about ASMR and then one of the girls was talking about how there's also like tapping ones.
Yep.
And I have on these like big, huge fucking claws right now,
Yes.
which I can't do anything with, but I like love tapping them together and tapping them around.
You don't have claws on,
Like-
you have talons. That sounds amazing. Okay, so do you know what that sounds like? That sounds like a child patent leather shoes on the type of asphalt I
Right?
like.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
And
Or
it's
like the right kind of
clackety-clack
keyboard.
on a keyboard.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking blend together my
Yes.
2 biggest things.
Fucking perfect.
So it's going to be hand model, clackety, tappity, tappity.
I love it.
But I got to find out like what people really like. So I'm going to like investigate a little, but
Yeah.
then like I can literally like do that right now.
100%.
So if anyone wants to watch or listen to my
Watch her nails clackety clack.
ASMR YouTube, I think I'm going to call it hand model ASMR.
Oh, I like it. Yeah.
Someone was like, you can still call it KB Touches Stuff, but I was like, I think for search word proficiency,
ASMR needs to
hand
be
model
in there.
ASMR is going to
Yeah,
be better, and
for
that way,
sure.
and maybe I'll do both. I'll probably do clickety clackety tappities, and then just fucking do
Touch
shit with my
stuff.
hand, touch stuff.
I love it. It's so funny because Eric and then our friend Kate, who was with us on New Year's Eve as well, they get a physical sensation in the back of their neck
Yeah, the tingles
when they listen to certain noises. I don't have that, but I got like the negative ASMR thing where I find noises very pleasant, but certain noises that I don't like make me gag.
Ugh.
And I'm like, I'd much rather have no reaction to bad sounds and have this very pleasant tingle to the good sounds. Like nails on a chalkboard makes me like, like makes me gag.
Yeah.
So it's super embarrassing if that sound happens when I'm in a classroom, and then the teacher at the front of the class is like, super fucking embarrassing. I'm going to tell you a movie now.
Yep. I'm done clackety clickety.
No, but I'm glad that you reminded us of that. Cousin was so
Look out for my hand model ASMR.
Cousin was like angry that this was a thing. It cracked me up.
She was angry that she didn't hate it as much as she wanted it to. I felt the same way. Like once I listened to one, I was like,
did she like the pickles?
I don't hate it. She liked the pickles more than I did.
Pickles. Yeah, I like the pickles.
She was like mad that she didn't hate it.
Yeah.
She was like,
it's
God damn it.
It's the pickles I knew
nice.
Cousin was going to have a reaction to, because the movie Land Before Time, Cousin and I used to watch at our grandma's house, and the character Spike, he hatches from his egg, and he's surrounded by tall grass, and when he comes out of his egg, he eats the grass around him.
Oh yeah.
And it is the like we were both like, I want to eat that grass. Like it sounds and looks so fucking delicious.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So I was like, she's gonna like the fucking pickle because it's like Spike eating the grass. Cute. Okay. So here we go.
The invitation.
The invitation.
With all the old people.
Yeah. With 0 old people. I'm also really glad that I'm the one who watched this and not you.
Ew, weird. Why?
You'll see.
Oh no. In like what context?
You'll see. Okay.
No, I just mean like I would it'd be bad for me in a way, or it's just better for you in a way.
Your reactions would be I feel the need to guide you through it as opposed to letting you experience it on your own, where I'd be concerned about the thing about your takeaways.
What? Oh wow.
Here we go. Okay.
Now I'm more intrigued just to know what the fuck that sentence means.
Yeah. So we have a couple driving.
Wait, do we do Dead or Alive?
Oh, Dead or Alive. Yes, thank you. Kim.
When are we?
I don't know. Dead or Alive. Will.
Dead.
Kira.
Alive.
Gina.
Alive.
Claire.
Dead.
Pruitt.
Dead.
Sadie.
Dead.
Eden.
Alive.
David.
Dead.
Choi.
Alive.
Tommy.
Dead.
Miguel.
Alive. So many people.
Just 11. That was it.
Just 11. Fuck you.
But don't worry. I have 28 points for questions.
Okay.
Okay. Couple is driving. Our age people. And the camera is on the dude who's driving. And we hear sort of an echoey voice of the passenger next to him going, Will. And he's like, yeah. She's like, I asked if you were okay. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I was just spacing out. And she's like, you know, we don't have to go to this. And he's like, no, I'll be fine. The girl then just then looks down at her lap, and she's got this like incredibly fancy, heavy invitation in her hand. Like it looks like a wedding invitation that somebody spent way too much money on. Mm-hmm. By the way, anyone getting married, you don't need to spend a lot of money on your invitations. Just go to fucking Vistaprint. They get thrown away. Don't spend your money on that. Back to the movie. So Will responds with, you know, I just think they're probably overcompensating since they disappeared for 2 years and didn't speak to any of us. Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, like what was that about? And he's like, I don't know. I ran into them at a supermarket like 2 years ago. They met at a grief counseling circle. And he's like, I guess you could have put money on our divorce. And she's like, no one does that. And he's like, yeah, they do. So we learned that the person that he's referring to, the house that they're going to, is Will's ex-wife and her new person.
Oh, okay.
And Will's ex-wife met her new person
at grief counseling.
Okay. So they're talking about that. Like nobody wagers on people's divorce. Like that's really crass. That doesn't crash. Yeah. They hit something. And Will is like, I think it was a coyote. So they both get out of the car. And I'm like, am I really watching animal horror again that I blocked out again? Because it's also a movie I've seen before and somehow I signed up for it fucking again. So really badly hurt. Luckily, we like don't see the full body of the coyote. We just see like where it's injured and we hear like a little bit of whimpering and I hated it. And Will tells the girl to get back in the car. Kim, first question. As Will, what do you do and what does he do?
I guess he kills it.
What do you do?
What is it, a coyote? But it's like, does it seem like it's like gone? But
it's a pretty upsetting
bad.
whimper. Yeah.
I mean, I think kill it too for its own benefit.
So that's not even really a dead or alive question, but like it's a very real thing that could happen. And for whatever reason, watching it this time, I was like, I completely agree with him telling her to get back in the car and he goes and gets a tire iron and kills it. It's something I 150% agree with.
Right.
Could I do it?
I don't know that I could physically do it.
But it's like, but then it's also like just as bad to like drive away.
Just let it fucking be like tortured.
Yeah. It really like hit me for a second where I was like, oh my God, this is a thing that could happen. Because then he gets back in the car and I see where they're driving. They're driving up into the Hollywood Hills. Oh. Because like we see the Hollywood sign. I was like, I've seen this. Like I know what street they're driving on.
Yeah.
And it's all of those houses where they're, for those of you that don't live in LA, these houses in the Hollywood Hills are beautiful, but they are literally built into a hill.
Like a cliff, yeah.
Literally a cliff. So it's like even when you go into the houses, like the layout of the houses, which will require some explanation once we get more into it, is not, they're very rarely the traditional layout of a house. They have different rooms on weird levels, staircases here, and, you know, that kind of thing. So I was like, that's a very real thing that can happen. So they get back in the car. They're pretty shaken. They pull up to a crazy fucking house. And the girl is like, this was yours? And Will is like, yeah, there's a lot of money in Eden's family. It was never my house. So as they walk into the house, he clearly knows where he's going. They walk past a hearth room, literally. Oh. It's literally a hearth room that is nothing but a fireplace in it. And it's like a little boy playing with a puzzle. And we kind of hear like a slow-mo, echoey sound of a voice saying, Ty, it's time for dinner. And then we realize it's a flashback that Will is having. So they then walk into a room of people and this one chick stands up and she's like, you're here. And then she says to the rest of the room, I won. And Kira's like, won what? And she's like, there was a wager on whether or not you'd show. And one of the guys is like, it was just for fun. So Gina, we learn, is the girl who said she won the wager. Then we have Green Polo walkover, who's just like a really well put together dude. And he's like, Kira, you're so fucking hot. Like, bear a child for us. And then another guy is like, he's not kidding. And that's, so we have Green Polo and Other Polo. We don't learn we don't learn what their names are.
The
right
Polos
away.
are a couple.
Yes. We learn later it's Tommy and Miguel.
That's fine. Polo shirts are good.
Yeah.
And Kira's the one who won the bet.
Gina is the one who won the bet. Kira is the girlfriend of Will.
Kira is the girlfriend of Will.
Yeah. So Will and Kira were driving up the mountain.
Okay.
Gina says, I want to bet. Tommy and Miguel are wearing polos and they're boyfriends.
Got it.
So Tommy says to Will, he's like, you look much less like a dirty dish rag than you did last time I saw you. Like, he's just got a real scruffy beard and like kind of longish hair. But it's like a coiffed beard at this point. But it's still a beard. So then another girl comes over. We learn her name is Claire, and she's got like a long blonde ponytail. And then Bill is sitting on the couch, and he jokingly is like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Bill. We used to run a business together, and then we both ran it into the ground. Nice to meet you.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, it was never a thriving business. And he was like, for 3 months, we were killing it. So we then get the sense that like all of them knew each other very, very well. This was like their core.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oof. It's a lot to walk into as Kira.
Yes. Oh, you have no idea. So then Will says, where's Choi? And Gina's like, late. And also I have no reception up here at all. And we get the sense that like Choi is always late. Then Will says, Eden and they're like, they haven't come in yet. All of a sudden, here comes Eden down the staircase in this long, white, effervescent way. And she gives Will this like long, meaningful hug. I'm immediately creeped out because there's a vibe that puts me on edge, and I don't know if it puts you on edge. So that's where I was like, I'm glad that I'm the one watching this, because I think I'm having a different reaction than you would have. So it's really interesting to me. Where there is an over sincerity. There is like a
oh no, that puts me on edge. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like long, meaningful things unsaid looks between Will and Eden.
Okay.
So we realize that Eden is Will's ex-wife. Everyone feels very awkward. And at one point, Eden, now please remember, Eden is his ex-wife and Kira is his new girlfriend. Eden is looking at him kind of like holding his face in a very tender way. All I could do was put myself in Kira's place, where I was just like, this, where's the wine? Please. And she's like, oh, you're a mess. And licks her thumb and wipes a bit of blood off of his cheek.
Oh, God.
From when he killed the coyote.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, like the vibe is so fucking awkward. Like I feel like I could like cut it with a knife. Now here comes David. Eden's new person. I say person because it's not clear if they're married or not. And there's weirdness. And we get another very overly sincere hug from David to Will.
Yeah.
And it's that eye contact of, we're so glad you're here. And I'm just like, you don't fucking know me. What is happening? And then he says, this is, then Will is like, how are you, David? And David looks at him and says, I'm brilliant. And I'm like, fuck you.
This is so LA. This is so funny.
There's literally a line in there where one of them goes, I mean, it's LA. Guys, you will, if you come to LA, you will encounter these people. And I don't even have to go into it. We'll get there. So David's like, I'm brilliant. There's so much to talk about and celebrate. And I'm like, goodbye. Question number 2, do you stay? Do you go? I leave. So at one point, they're like, you know, what do you want to drink? And they all make fun of Will for like not knowing that the wine that they're serving is an 85 Rothschild, which is like $1 million bagillion a bottle. And like, they're kind of mean to him. Like, they're kind of like, not mean, but like razzing him in a way that they're like, you fucking Neanderthal, you don't know what an 85 Rothschild is. Like, your beard looks like a dirty dish rag. Like, yeah. So David is like, you know, let's celebrate what we have now. Like, we don't need to save super expensive bottles of wine. Like, this is a reunion and we're really excited to open up the house again. Okay.
Interesting.
So as he's talking, Will looks down the hallway, which is kind of dark, and sees this chick who's like backlit, and she's staring at him and staring into the room. And Will is just kind of looking back like, who the fuck is that?
The fuck?
And she's full blown Winnie the Poohing.
Shirt only. No
Shirt
pants.
only, no pants. And then she kind of like walks away, but definitely in like a very immodest, come hither kind of way.
Okay.
Will kind of like does like he doesn't say anything. Like he's just like,
Yeah.
And then they're like, cheers to new beginnings. All of a sudden, Sadie comes trotting out, and we realize that was the girl that was backlit in the hallway. And she's like, save a glass for me. And she's another LA stereotype that I also can't stand, where she's like overly childlike in a way that's just like, everything is new and magical to me. And I'm like, no, it's not. Be a human. Have logical responses to things that are happening. So she comes over skipping, and she looks the same age as everyone else, but her demeanor is that of a child, a sexual child, which is ultra creepy.
No, yeah, I know what you mean.
Do you?
I do.
Yeah. So she then kisses David. Kisses David.
That she does.
Yep. And there's a super weird vibe with Sadie and Eden and everyone. And they're like, and the guests that have known them for a while are like, how are you? And Eden is like, we met in Mexico. And Sadie is just like, we sure did. And Eden is just like smiling. And then Eden is just like, yeah, she's helping us out. And I was just like, everybody leave. Everybody leave. I don't want to be a part of this.
So she's their girlfriend?
Who knows? Yes, but that's the vibe where it's like, everybody's fucking each other. Why are we at this party? I have to go. Let's go to fucking Fat Burger and go away.
When have you ever been to Fat Burger?
Well, they have Impossible Burgers now.
Oh.
Yeah, so. All right, so Kira then breaks the silence of the awkwardness that just happened. Kira being Will's girlfriend.
Right.
And she's like, so we hit a coyote coming in. And they're like, what? And she's like, yeah, Will had to kill it and like put it out of its misery. And all of the friends are like, Will, why was that not like the first thing that you said when you came in? Yeah. And Will was just like, I didn't want to start the party that way. Like, they all seem like very normal friends.
Right.
Everyone besides Sadie, Eden, and David.
Right.
Where we would say the same thing. Like, why did you not fucking tell us you just killed a coyote coming in? Sadie, then the camera's like on Sadie, and she's got like a look in her eye that again is just like, why did somebody invite a child to this party? Why did someone invite a sexual child to this party?
I don't like those two words together.
Nor do I like those characteristics inside of a human. So Will's like, I'm going to go get some water. And he just goes into the kitchen, obviously, because he knows where everything is. As he's getting water, we see that he's having a flashback. And it's jumpy, choppy, editing around, blood on a plate, flashback to Eden standing over the sink, Will trying to wrestle something out of her hand, and we see that it's a flashback to Eden trying to kill herself over the sink. All of a sudden, Eden comes into the kitchen, and she's just like, you're so handsome tonight. You're both really beautiful. And I'm just like, this bitch is under a trance. What the fuck is happening? She's also like very vibey. She's moving in that way that's just like, my presence is like always going to be like within your aura. And you could see
it's
these
like, I do. I see it so well.
Yes.
And it's like, I equally don't like it, but kind of like it.
So Will remarks, he's like, you got bars on the window. And she's like, yeah, we're just, putting we want it to be safer. Like I was alone in this house for a while, so just want it to be safer. And we get that she's been in Mexico for the majority of the 2 years. And then she kind of leans against the counter and she's like, did you miss me? Did you think about me? And she's still got this overly sincere, vibey, sparkly smile. But this is where it starts to look like, ooh, that's a mask.
Some stuff going on underneath. Yeah.
So she's like, you look different. Or no, he says she looks different. I'm sorry. He says she looks different. And he's like, it's not hard being in this house. And she's like, no. She's like, I am different. All that useless pain is gone. She's like, and anyone can have what I have. I want you to have it too. So then our friend Ben comes in and says to Eden, he's like, you look so fucking hot. And he's like getting food, like getting snacks or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I was just telling Will that pain is optional. And Ben is like, no one told me. And she's like, it's all just chemical reactions. It's completely changeable. And he's like, I mean, that sounds crazy. So what? You're like shitting out your pain? She slaps him.
Damn.
And Ben is like, what the fuck? Like definitely more like surprise, like not knowing how to react. And she's like, until you stop making a joke out of everything, you'll never learn. That's why no one cares what you think.
Damn.
Yeah. Will is very passive.
Okay.
In all of this. And I then remembered why I didn't respond in the same way to the first time I saw it. I found him too passive. I don't know what was going on with me at the time, but like,
you mean the first time you saw it?
The first time I saw it, I found him too passive. This time his passivity makes more sense to me. Mm-hmm. But I just like had a flash of like, why didn't you react? And it's like, for whatever reason, I just have an understanding of why I didn't react this time. Mm-hmm. So Eden just calmly takes a dish into the dining room. Ben seems annoyed at Eden, but not completely like taken aback.
And Ben was the business partner
Mm-hmm.
of him? Okay.
Yeah. So now it's just Will and Ben in the kitchen. And Will is like, has she been acting like this all night? And Ben's like, yup. And so is David. And he's like, you know, you got to do what you got to do when you're going through what you two went through. But like, you didn't go nuts. But he's talking in a very like no emergency kind of way. Like he's just like, they're fucking weird now. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Will then asks about Ben's wife. And Ben is just like, I don't know. I think we hate each other. Mm-mm. And he's like, I mean, the sex is good, but it's because it's like so angry. But you can tell that like Ben's the jokester. Like he's still even making a joke out of this. So then Ben and Will walk back into one of the rooms. And
like basically what Eden said wasn't wrong.
No.
Even though she's like
100%.
Fucking,
yeah.
Yeah.
So Eden then offers Ben a drink and she's like, have a drink. I've already let it go. And he's like, okay, I'll always have a drink. And I'm kind of like, it wasn't really yours to let go. Like you slapped somebody, but whatever. And she's like, see, it's already gone. And they just kind of like walk away. So now we see Will. All right, here's where I kind of want to try and describe the house to you a little bit because it'll become relevant later. So you walk in the front door. To your left is a meeting room, like a living room. To your right is bedrooms. Directly in front of you is a stairway. But the stairway is one of those stairways where like you can see through it. Like it's not a solid stairway. It's just slats.
Okay.
So like you could stand on one side of the stairway and look through it either to the bedrooms or the living room.
Okay.
When you go up the stairway, that's where it appears to be like their dining room area. And then there's other sort of things out there. And there's also like an entrance out to the pool. Okay.
Okay.
Because you have to remember
that
it's built into it. Yeah, it's built into a mountain. So it's like levels are all over the place. So as Eden sort of walks Ben away back into the room where everyone's sitting, Will is looking through the stairs at David, who's on the phone, which is weird because we already know that Gina was like, I have no reception up here. So Claire then comes over to Will and they're like kind of by the staircase and she like sits him down on the staircase and she's like, ask me a question. Like just kind of being like, I haven't seen you in so long. Let's start a conversation. Ask me a question. And he's like, did you make tenure? And she's like, I did. I had a whole party and everything. And he's like, I'm sorry I missed it. And she's like, it's okay. You're here now. So we get the sense that Will has really isolated himself. It's been weird for 2 years, but he's really been isolated. And she's like, I bet it's weird to be here. And he's like, yeah, it is. All of a sudden they see headlights. And Gina's like, Choi? It's not Choi. It's this older guy who's an actor that you would recognize. And he gives David, who answers the door, this really overly sincere hug, where it's sort of like, hug, grasp the back of the neck, and call him brother. Like, it's just overly sincere. Sadie then jumps up like a little puppy dog and like hugs this guy that just came in. We learn that his name is Pruitt. This is also where we learn that green polo is Tommy and the other polo is Miguel. Ben offers to get Pruitt a drink, and Pruitt asks for anything diet, so he doesn't want any alcohol. Ben walks past Will and Claire, who are still sitting on the stairs, and kind of like throws his hands up in the air to be like, I don't fucking know. Like, because nobody knows who Sadie or this Pruitt guy are, and it's supposed to be like a reunion of old friends. Mm-hmm. So then Tommy says, super glad you're here, new friend, but like, where the fuck is Choi? And that's where we learn Choi is Gina's asshole boyfriend, and she's annoyed that he's not here. And she's like, you really have like no reception up here, like anywhere? And Eden is like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, like we're in the hills, like we don't have any reception. And while we were in Mexico, some bills just fell through the cracks, and we just haven't gotten around to having them come back and hook up the landline again. So they don't even have a landline. Mm-hmm. And David says, you know, the best option is all the way in the back. Like if you're going to get any reception, all the way in the back. At this point, Will is still sitting on the stairs, and he watches David lock the door and put the skeleton key into his pocket. Kim, what do you do, and what does Will do?
I don't. I'm like,
it's not a trick question.
Just keep talking. I don't understand.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm not seeing options as something. I'm just like, but because you're asking me a question, I assume he does something. Maybe he like confronts David to be like, why'd you do that?
Okay. What do you do? Oh, you said you just keep talking.
Keep talking. I don't know.
1 point. Will says, why did you lock the door and hide the key? And David says, oh, there was a home invasion up the road, so we're just extra safe. And Will says, well, what if there's a fire? And there's an awkward staring contest, and David puts the key back into the door. And he's like, no big deal. Here, put the key back in. I just keep the house a little differently. I mean, it is my house. Awkward. So then Eden comes in and breaks it up by asking Will, she's like, Will, would you go get some more firewood? You know where it is, if you wouldn't mind going out and grabbing it. At that point, Eden asks Kira, so like Will walks away, and the camera is following Will kind of like walking through the house on his way to get firewood. And we hear Eden and Kira talking as a voiceover. And Eden is saying to Kira, she's like, has he been agitated like this a lot? And Eden is like, you know, I'm really glad he's with you. How has he been handling it? You know, he can be kind of self-destructive. And Kira's like, he's, doing the best he can. Ex-wife of my new boyfriend. And as we hear this, Will is walking around the home, and we see that he's going outside by the pool. And when he goes outside, Will stops and is like staring at this statue that's lit up in the foliage, and we don't really know what it is, but he stays there and stares at it for a few seconds. And as he's staring at it, we hear an echoey sound of children, "You're it!" playing tag in a flashback. Then, as he's sort of like getting the firewood, he turns because a light has gone on in the bedroom. Now it's one of those things where like so many of the walls are just glass. So you can like see into like every room. So there's like a sliding glass door from the master bedroom out to like where the pool is. But Will is kind of like hidden a little bit behind the wood stack. So it's like he can see what's happening in the bedroom, but the person in the bedroom can't necessarily see him. And it's Eden, and she's standing at the window looking out to the pool. And she looks like she's kind of like trying to compose herself. And then she takes something out of the nightstand and kind of like composes herself and like walks away. So Will gets the wood and then he comes back into where everyone is. But rather than walking back into the living room, he quietly puts the wood down without being spotted. Kim, what do you do and what does Will do next?
So Eden took something out of the thing, or she like put
unclear. There was an exchange of something from the drawer in the nightstand, and she was going through something.
I think he goes to the nightstand and goes and looks in it.
Okay. And what do you do?
I felt like last question I was like, why are you asking me? I'm watching a movie. I felt very taken aback. And then I was like, oh, I have to be inside it.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I'm going to sit here and watch the rest of this movie. Stop asking me questions. All right. I guess I need to get involved more.
Yeah.
I'm going to, you know what? Fuck these people. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. I'm going to take my Kira and drive away.
Love it.
This is a side note, but the movie I was thinking of was The Visit.
I see.
Not The Invitation.
And it's old people?
It must be.
Yeah. I think it's the grandma. I think it's with
grandmas.
Creepy grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it has cross stitch.
Yep. Got it.
Picture. Open cover.
Wowzers. You guys, when will Kim and I get our brains back? At what point in 2020? Okay.
What are we doing? Where are we?
So did I give you your 2 bells? Sorry, guys.
I don't recall.
We had to take a bathroom break. So maybe you're getting 2 more bells. Maybe we already gave bells. I don't know.
Did we just ask a question?
We did.
I don't remember.
We asked a question where I said like,
oh, I left.
yeah,
I think I got 2
left,
bells.
and he went and looked in the nightstand.
Okay.
So he quietly walks into the bedroom and he opens the nightstand and he finds a bottle of pills in the drawer that is one of those little orange prescription bottles, but there's no label on it. So he takes one of the pills out and is looking at it and he's trying to fit David.
Yeah.
So he still has the pill, but like he's startled by David.
Me too.
Yeah, I know. It worked. So then David just kind of like looks at Will. Will just kind of looks back at David, and David just says, Kim is losing her mind, and I don't know why. What is happening?
Sorry. I was just thinking about when I scared you, and you're like, oh, I just shot myself. And then we were sitting on our poop higgy.
What episode was that? It was,
I think it's last week.
maybe last week.
Sorry.
If you want to know why Kim's laughing, go back and listen to, I don't know, one of those episodes in 2019.
What movie did I do last week?
I don't know. Oh, it was
it was still
2019.
2020. It was the
2020.
second week of 2020.
I don't know. Kim, I don't know.
What movie did I do last week? Evil Dead?
Evil Dead?
Is that we're in Heige? Or is it the thing?
No,
It was
I
one of
think,
the last
yeah, it was one of, who knows, guys. Anyway. So David and Will are just awkwardly staring at each other. And oh no.
I'm sorry. Kim giggles. I don't know what's wrong with me. I feel crazy.
Oh God.
Why is this being recorded? I wish no one else could hear this.
Except everyone could hear it.
Okay.
And you know I'm not cutting it. Because I'm married to the cutter. Okay.
David's there.
So David and Will are awkwardly looking at each other. And David just says to Will, come back to us when you're ready. And leaves the room. Which I'm like, you're so fucking passive aggressive. Just fucking tell me to get out of your fucking room. Like, just don't pull all this like higher than thou bullshit. Just be like, get out of my fucking room. What did you take out of my wife's nightstand? So Will doesn't immediately leave. We just see him sitting on the side of the bed and he's looking into their bathroom. And we see that he's having a flashback to him and Eden in the tub. And he's got no beard at this point. And a child walks in and it's their son Ty. And he's like, what are you guys doing? And like, they're clearly like having sexy time. And then he's like, you know, your mom and I are just spending some quality time together. Like, just, you know, go to bed. We'll come and kiss you goodnight in a little bit. And Ty leaves. He's like, I love you. And then Will and Eden are just kind of like, well, that's the first time our son saw us having sex or whatever. Like, they weren't having sex, but like just, you know, naked and whatever. And they're just really, really cute and gross and in love. And they're like, you know, let's make him a brother. Then he's kind of like shocked out of his flashback when he hears a squeal in the living room. Not a scream, one of those kind of like, ah, like the sound you would make when you saw someone's engagement ring. You know what I mean? And so he walks back into the room and it's Gina. And she's like smiling, talking to Sadie. And she like turns to Will, who's just walked in. She's like, they're in a fucking cult.
Yeah, I could have told you that.
Yeah. And Miguel is then like, I don't think it's a cult. I know a bunch of people in the invitation. He's like, what do you guys do? Like, all get naked in the woods in Mexico? And Sadie's like, I did. And I'm like, oh, get out of here. Go back to your playpen. So then David steps in and he's like, it's not a cult, really. It's more of a science than a religion. All people who've lost someone. All smart people like us. Kim, what do you do? What does Will do?
I joined that cult. Cult.
No.
Give me that cult.
This is why I didn't want you to watch it. I was like, she's too susceptible. She's too susceptible.
I'm like, give me that kombucha and let me in your cult.
No. So,
no. I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
That was a joke. That was a joke answer.
Good. Because we're not on high alert, but we're still on alert. Your friend group.
But didn't I not join a cult pretty specifically? I was like, I wasn't even interested.
That's why we're not on high alert.
Okay. I don't remember what cult it was. I was just like,
I think it was Andrew Keegan's cult.
No, that one I almost joined.
Hence why we're still on alert.
But that was so long ago.
I know, but you know, it takes a lot to dig yourself out of that cult hole. Okay, you can't just automatically be out of it.
Recent cult that I was like, no, thank you. Or it was a movie that we did, and I was like, I'm not even interested.
Was it Mandy? Where you didn't join
maybe.
Mandy's cult?
Yeah, maybe I wasn't into it.
Mandy's cult was pretty easy to not join. There's like knife dicks and gray sludge that you have to drink and terrible
that wasn't
music.
Part of the cult. You just had to like fuck that main guy, and I was like, I don't want to. I hate when it's like a Jesus dude cult.
This cult.
More up my style. More my style.
Initially, yeah. So that's why I'm like, oh god.
I'm just not down with the cults that it's like one leader dude who's like, no, I'm gonna fucking have all these wives now, and I'm like, not for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, who am I within them?
You're Will.
Will.
Yeah.
Someone just told me they're in a cult.
Well, they said it's not a cult. It's more a science.
I think he like pushes it. Like pushes the envelope and is like, yeah, tell me about it kind of thing. Or like, how is it a science or something? You know, like,
okay.
I'm going to do the same. I'm like, fucking tell me about your science. Let me hear it.
1 point. I don't know if asking him would keep you alive or not, but sure. He is actually pretty quiet at this point.
Okay. Oh, I forgot he's passive. God damn it.
But he waffles back and forth for sure.
Well, I hate those characters because then you never know.
He's fucking waffly. So Pruitt is just kind of sitting there just outside of the circle, which is like weird. Like everyone's sitting in like a comfortable, casual circle on the couches, and he's kind of sitting in a chair sort of behind them, and it's weird. David then continues, and he's like, there's thousands of people that have accepted the invitation. And Ben's like, yeah, I think my boss is into it. He's like, it's like a new EST. Do you know what EST is?
I don't.
Okay, because I wrote postmortem next to it because I don't know what it is either. But David then corrects him, and he's like, no, it's more grounded and practical, yet spiritual. And I'm like, these fucking buzzwords put together in this particular order is red flag alert city alarm bells. It is anyone that says like, it's more like a science. I'm like, no, science is a science. No. This is a cult. So
that's what I say about manifestation. But it is science.
But you don't. But you're not saying it's more like a science.
No, I'm saying it is science. It is literally. There's neuroscience and all kinds of things.
We can't do this right now, and I don't even disagree with you.
I was just saying that you reminded me of what I say, and I was like, I hope she's not talking about me and the way I talk.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
you
good.
know these people. You know these people that are like it's the buzzwords put together in a certain order. That I think is what I'm responding to. And I think you hear it as well when it's like, it's practical, yet spiritual. It's science. And it's you're not saying anything. You're not saying what it is. You're just using buzzwords is what is happening.
Yeah.
So, because everyone wants proof and everyone wants, something to believe in. So you say all those things that make people go, oh, is this the thing? But you're not actually saying what it is.
Yeah.
So Miguel asks what goes on. David goes, well, since you asked, and gets up and walks into the other room. They all kind of like razz him at this point. Like no one's really taking it seriously. And they're like, oh, so that's why you lock the door. And everyone's kind of laughing.
Oh.
David comes back out with a laptop and he starts playing a movie. You can see this movie in your mind. Okay. It's Sonora, Mexico. And we hear a voice saying, this is our home. And it could be yours too. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's people doing yoga. And it's nature.
Yeah.
And it's blah, blah, blah.
Love all
and
those
it's
things.
so peaceful. And it's people sitting in a circle, talking to each other and feeling things and blah, blah, blah.
All those things.
Mm-hmm. I know you do. And that's how cults get ya. And so it's a dude leading the circle. And he says, we've all been through trauma here, but we can transcend.
Great.
I also agree that you can transcend your trauma. And then it cuts to a woman in bed, and the dude that was leading the circle is like sitting over her, and there's a whole bunch of people around her.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, so you're ready to let go, aren't you? And he's like, you've made a choice. Who are you going to see? And the woman is like, in a gasping voice, she's like, my husband. My father. And he's like, you can let go now.
No.
And then he says to the people in the circle, can you feel her?
No.
And everyone around the circle is like, yes. And they're crying.
No. This is not the kind of cult I want to be part of.
And then the woman takes her last breath.
No.
And the dude says, she's with us all now.
No.
End of the video.
See, these are the cults I don't get down with.
Okay, so now you have to listen really carefully.
Okay.
David and Eden, and of course puppy dog Sadie, are watching with these like serene expressions of creep. And Will is very uncomfortable. Gina is like Did we just watch someone die? I love Gina. And Eden says, we just want to show you. And the voice that I do for Eden, that's her voice. You can tell that I'm affecting my voice to sound as peaceful as possible. She's also affecting her voice. And that creeps me out. Yeah. So she's like, we just want to show you that there's nothing to be afraid of. And Kira's like, what did she die of? She looked like barely 30. And Eden says she was very sick with cancer. And Eden's like, and Kira's like, oh, all right. And everyone's kind of quiet. And then Sadie says, it's beautiful. But she says it in a way of like an agitated child who's like, I don't understand why you're not having the reaction that I expected. Why do you not feel peaceful and complete? And just kind of that sort of frantic, childlike kind of thing. And we see that Pruitt like puts a hand on Sadie's shoulder and it kind of like calms her. And Ben then kind of breaks the silence and he's just like, listen, I get it. If you're going to die, I mean, who doesn't want to go surrounded by the people you love? And Gina's like, but on video? And Tommy's like, it's a little grim. And Miguel is like, I mean, it looked peaceful. I'm not judging. So he's just like trying not to judge, trying to like, you know, just like nothing is actually wrong with what we just saw, really. And I think that's what creeps me out about cults is that even what you did where you're like, are you talking about this? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not talking about this. I can't even tell you what I'm talking about. It's just a feeling when certain things are put next to each other that makes the hackles go up and you just go, something isn't right here, but you can't really explain it. Yeah. And at some point I wrote Miguel is a doctor. So there was something about this interaction that made me realize Miguel was a doctor, but I truly don't remember what it was. It was just kind of a conversation and somebody said something. So Miguel is a doctor. Got it. So Will then says in a moment of silence, yeah, I just don't know why you would show this at a dinner party. And he's super calm, but very skeptical. Like he reminded me of exactly how Eric would sound, where he's just like, if you could just explain what the fuck is going on, that's all I'm asking kind of thing. And Pruitt steps in and he's like, you know, we all die. It's not about that. And Will goes, oh, okay, so what's it about? And Pruitt's like, it's about communion. And Will doesn't let up and he's like, yeah, that's pretty heavy for a dinner party. And Eden goes over and sits with David next to the fireplace and she's like, we don't find it heavy. And David starts talking about, you know, how he, prior to accepting the invitation, he was consumed by his pain and he was nothing but a coked up record producer consumed by it. And Dr. Joseph took all of that away. And I went, ding, 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 ding. The problem is that Dr. Joseph didn't do shit. And this is where I realized like cults are cults. Dr. Joseph didn't do shit because Dr. Joseph didn't take your pain away. Dr. Joseph may have given you a path to processing your pain, but you still have to do the work. Like nobody can do it for you. Even a scientific doctor, even a medical doctor, like can prescribe something for you. You still have to take the fucking pill. So that was like really what solidified for me, like one of the characteristics of a cult, even if it's not like a Jesus guy or someone that like fucks all the women or whatever the fuck. It's someone who says like, I can give you what you've been looking for and only I can give it to you. It's like, no. Agreed. Processing your pain, love it. Finding your way through trauma, love it. It's you that does it though. So, my face just got flushed. It really struck a chord, just especially that this is a person that's preying on people who are in such dire pain and are just looking for relief. Yes. The predatory aspect of it makes me so fucking furious. And frankly, all cults are that. It's all preying upon people where it's like they can't find what they need and you're telling them that this is the only place they can get it. So in response to David saying, you know, Dr. Joseph took all that away, Pruitt says, "Amen, brother." And I wrote, "He doesn't even go here." I was like, why is Pruitt here? That was a Mean Girls reference that Kim didn't get, but maybe my Sammys will get it. So David then stands up and he's like, you know what Will and Eden have been through? And Will goes, "No, David, do not. Do not." And this is the first time that we see a little bit of fire from Will because he's like, you don't get to say what I went through at all.
Good for him.
Eden then sort of interjects and says, you know, finding this saved my life. She's like, I couldn't go on living. I mean, look at me now. I'm happy. But it's that manic happy. And then she kind of looks around the room and she's got that like tears in her eyes, but like a really big smile. She's like, I mean, look at how you're all looking at me. If you think anyone is going to take that away from me. And it's so manic and creepy. And Will just stands up and he's like, you don't think I know? It's just that easy for you? And another one like stands up. It was either Miguel or Tommy. And he's like, hey, you know what, Will? Let's just go get a drink. So Kira is just sitting there like, cool party. So Will is kind of whisked away. And David says to the remaining group, he's like, yeah, we're all lost. It's too big for any of us alone. Real awkward silence. Doorbell rings. Gina is obviously hoping it's Choi, who still hasn't arrived. Pruitt beats her to the door and is like, no, I'll get it. And he goes to the door, answers it, and then he calls David to the door. They all kind of disperse, like they're like, I'm going to get another glass of wine. And Gina then goes to like see how Will is. Will is fixated on the door and he can't quite see who's at the door because David is standing in front of it and then the door is kind of closed halfway. So it's like he's blocking whoever is there. And Gina's trying to talk to him and she's like, you know, I was just trying to give you space after what happened, but I feel like it may have looked like I just checked out. And I just want you to know, like, that's not what happened. We just didn't really know how to. Hello? And he's like, I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. And he was just like fixated on what was happening at the door. David then closes the door and says, just people looking for a party on foot. And Gina's like, good luck. They'll die of dehydration. And it's like, for those of you that don't live in LA, like there's not a scenario where you're like walking up into the Hollywood Hills just looking for a party. It's not like West Hollywood where it's like apartment buildings and blocks and all that, like city blocks. This is like, this would be a very difficult hike to make in tennis shoes, let alone party clothes, and you wouldn't just be looking for a party. So that in
there's
itself,
like usually not even sidewalks.
Not even sidewalks. Yeah. So that's a super weird thing to say and very suspicious. So Gina then like wants Will to know, she's like, I'm there for you. And they say that I love you and I miss you to each other. Will then looks at Kira, who's just kind of like trying to not be awkward.
Oh, God.
Poor fucking Kira.
That's my worst nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, it's truly your worst nightmare. Like this specific situation, it's just like, it was so fucking uncomfortable. So then he then looks at Sadie, who's like sitting alone now by the hearth and the laptop that the video was playing on, and she just looks kind of confused. That same sort of like, why didn't that go the way that I was told it should go? Like, just why didn't everyone accept the invitation? Why wouldn't you? Like that's kind of what she looks like. Will then looks at the pill in his hand, remembering that, yeah, okay. Cut to Miguel
The pill. So he took one from
Yes.
the nightstand? That's what you're saying? Okay.
Cut to Miguel, who comes in to where Will is sitting alone now. And he comes and sits next to him. Kim, what do you do and what does Will do?
Asks Miguel what this pill is because he's a doctor.
Okay.
Correct? He's a doctor?
Mm-hmm.
Same. Hand in hand.
Correct. He's like, what the fuck is this unlabeled pill? And Miguel looks at it and he's like, it's phenobarbital. And Will is like, what the fuck? And he's like, listen, phenobarbital, it's like, it's for seizures. It's for a lot of things. And he's like, that's bad, isn't it? He's like, I mean, anything is bad if used incorrectly. Like, who knows why they have it? And Miguel is kind of like, you're being a little weird, man. Going through their stuff, finding their pills.
Yeah.
Tommy then comes in to break it up. And he's like, let's go get some more of this wine. So Tommy, Miguel, and Will now go and join David and Pruitt in like a wine room of some kind. And they're like, cheers. And Miguel just blurts out and he's like, Will thinks y'all are on pills.
Miguel.
And Will like chokes. And Miguel goes, figuratively. And David's like, he's like, you think we're crazy? That's okay. A lot of people do. But I'll tell you one thing. No one's as happy as us. And I'm like, are you? I don't know. So Pruitt and David walk away. And now it's just Will and Miguel and Tommy. And Will is like, do you guys not think this is a little bit weird? Like, why am I in a fucking Twilight Zone right now? And Tommy then says, look, we all knew that this was going to be fucking weird, especially for you. That's not a surprise to anybody. But it's just a long overdue reunion among friends with two total fucking weirdos. Like, he definitely acknowledges it. And he's like, but this is LA. And I'm like, it sure is. And he's like, let's just drink their awesome wine and not worry about it. And I'm like, okay. All right. Sounds good to me. And this is where I kind of started to like put myself in Will's place, where I was like, yeah, that's the thing that's so scary about some of this stuff, where you're like, again, you can't quite put your finger on why you're creeped out.
Yeah.
And somebody could be saying the exact same thing and it doesn't creep you out.
Way. Yeah. It's
and
just like a tone.
Yep. And it kind of makes you feel
crazy.
Yeah.
I get that. I mean, it's like I don't know. It's just, I get that with just like walking into a room where you can just like tell, like, just like in an empathy way, of just being like, well, I don't like this, or I also feel like this, or I don't like this person, and it has nothing to do with what they're actually saying a lot of times.
Well, I also feel like you and Eric are a perfect example of that. You and Eric can tell me things about manifesting and all this kind of stuff that I take very seriously, and I hear it. Somebody else could say the exact same thing to me, and I'd be like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So that whole little wine party kind of breaks up. And then we hear David then speaking from a balcony over the hearth living room area. So this is where we kind of see like part of the layout of the house, where it's like those stairs go up to a dining room, and the dining room also kind of has a balcony that looks over the living room.
Interesting.
So he's speaking to them. And he's like, I'm sorry that video was weird. The last thing that I want you to think is that we're forcing our beliefs on you. And he then comes down to them and says, let's play a game. Again. Somebody says, let's play a game. And I go, yay. Somebody else says, let's play a game. And I go, is it a death game? And he says, it's like never. Which I realize is never have I ever. We call it never have I ever. They just called it I never. I never. And they all
remember when you wanted to play Never Have I Ever with
the
your
child?
9-year-old niece?
Yes, that was
at Christmas, and you were like, "Not Never Have I Ever." I mean, would you rather? Would you rather?
That was
We were all like, no, Ketrin,
No.
we don't want to play Never Have I Ever with your 9-year-old niece.
So they had a similar experience because as soon as they said that, Gina's like, I always lose that game. And they're like, yeah, you do,
Gina. That's why you're our best friend at the party.
Totally. So they keep talking about how Gina was a fucking hoe and slept with everybody. And I'm like, yes, queen.
I knew she was my favorite.
Oh my God, she's the best. So David is like, no. He's like, it's called I Want. And he's like, it's a way to strip away societal constraints and embarrassment and blah, blah, blah. And again, I'm like, who is saying this? One person says it, I'm all for it. Someone else says it, and I want to run away. And so he's like, you have to say what you really, really want. Of course, annoying puppy dog Sadie is like, I'll go first. And she stands up and she's got this really overly sincere, sappy thing that she wants to do. And I feel like an impression of Sadie is like really in my wheelhouse. Because she goes around the room and she says, I just want to tell Gina and Eden and Tommy and Miguel. And Ben goes, can I get a fucking sandwich? And she's like, I just want to make sure I acknowledge all of you. David, Pruitt, Kira, Will, I love you. I know it's not something that everyone says. A lot of people are afraid to say it, but I'm not. I love you.
Okay.
And that's it. And everyone's like, cool. And then cool. And then she leans down and lays a big old fucking smackaroo on Gina.
Oh.
And everyone's like, okay, what? Where are we? And so then Gina is like, okay. Like, she's definitely like, that was fun, but weird. But what the fuck is happening? So then Gina's like, okay, I'll go. David, I want some of that coke you used to do. And everyone's like, yeah. And David gets up and goes, okay. And they're all like, okay. And Tommy's like, glad to see rehab worked. And he's like, no judgment here. And they're like, okay. I was kidding. And he's like, why? And she's like, fuck it. Sure. Bring it on over. So now the party's like, kind of, okay, this is what we're doing. Great.
Interesting.
But it's fucking weird.
Were they saying that Gina went to rehab or David went to rehab?
David went to rehab. Like, she wasn't saying like, let's do coke right now. Like, she was like, I want the coke you used to do. But obviously you don't have it anymore because you talked about how you're not a cokehead. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they all laugh, blah, blah, blah. Then Pruitt interrupts and he says, I want to tell you about my wife, Margaret. And everyone's like, okay, what's up, dude? And he's like, we were married 8 years, would have been 15 next month. And he goes into how great she was, about her laugh and she was an oil painter and blah, blah, blah. And
see where this is going.
And the camera is just panning in on him monologue style. And Tommy's like, did she pass away? And Pruitt's like, yep. It was, we'd been drinking. I had been drinking and we'd just come home from a dinner and we were in the kitchen. We fell into one of those arguments. Somebody started yelling, who knows? And I don't remember who, but I went to pour myself another drink and she tried to stop me and something just gave. So I turned and I hit her as hard as I could. Her knees buckled. She hit her head. I think she was even trying to get back up, She had her hand out, was staring at me, and then she collapsed, was gone.
What?
everyone is like what you are right now, where they're like, I thought we were all going to make out and do coke. What is happening? So he says, what the fuck? So he says, that was 7 years ago. I went to prison. I paid in that way, but
how long?
I mean,
clearly not that long.
Less than 7 years because he's out now. I mean,
Jesus.
Yeah, like not very long. So I'm like, what the fuck is our justice system? Anyway, that's for
I guess
another.
it's like manslaughter technically.
Is it?
Because he wasn't trying to kill her.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess. Blah. So he's like, I paid in that way, but I was still the same person. Finally, by accepting the invitation and looking only ahead.
I hate this.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
See, this is not the see. Anytime we get into real cult territory, I'm like, no, thank you.
I know. That's why again, it's why we're not on high alert. We're like orange.
The Andrew Keegan cult was just like hang out, sing some songs, and drink kombucha. As far as I know,
as far as you know, that's the point. Is like you don't actually know what all the shit is until you get into it.
I even went to, I don't want to say what it is, but the thing in LA.
Yeah,
and that the description of that is right up my alley. Like it's just a spiritual place, basically, where to replace church, kind of. Right. And I went to that one time with someone I was dating, and I literally was like, this feels like a cult.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go back.
Right. Yeah.
And it was hella popular. There was thousands of people there. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, I think you've really definitely grown in some way where and it's also like, I feel like more things are coming out about cults. That's the thing. Like the NXIVM thing and stuff where you're just like, hey, I was in a cult and now I'm out of it. Let me tell you how they get you in and how this whole thing works and how you're brainwashed and how anyone is susceptible to it and brainwashing is a thing and blah, 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 blah. Like, I feel like
I think my spidey senses have gotten
better, more tuned, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, what the fuck? Right. And he's like, I accepted the invitation. And he's like, and looking only ahead, destroying that horrible part of me that made that moment possible. I'm cured. He's like, and I miss her. Not a day goes by that I don't miss her. And he's like, but I don't grieve and I don't feel guilty anymore because I've chosen to let go. Those emotions are useless because I'm going to be seeing her again in a better place than this. That's what we believe. And he's like, that's what most people believe for centuries. And I was like, yep, that's also where cults get you, where they're like, this is totally normal.
They mix everything in.
Yeah. I, for one, can't wait to get there, but forgiveness doesn't have to wait. I'm free to forgive myself, and so are you. Also,
again,
all of these words sound awesome and things that we say.
Yes.
It's just, so Claire then is like, this is weird, and I feel like you're trying to sell us something. Poor Claire. Eden then interrupts and is like completely interrupts and is like, I want to kiss Ben. And Claire's like, oh, are we, so we're still playing this game? And she's like, I always have. And Ben's like, oh. She's like, stand up. And she like kisses him and Ben kind of like pulls away and she's like, no. And like kisses him.
Whoa.
And Ben's like, okay. And he jokingly is like, yeah, I don't know if I consented to that. But thank you. And no one tell Amanda, please. Then he sits back down again, super awkward. And Tommy then goes, it's like, you know what? Fuck it. I want a blowjob. And Miguel's like, what? And he's like, no, I'm serious. I want a blowjob. And that's when Claire turns into that SpongeBob Squarepants meme where she's like getting up out of a chair and she's like, all right, I'm a go.
Yes. Good for her.
So Eden and David are like really trying to get her to stay. Kim, as Claire, what do you do and what does Claire do?
I'm a go.
You?
For realsies, yeah.
Okay.
Bye. She I don't know Claire. I've never had any interactions with her, really. It's hard for me to remember her name, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, it is Claire.
Didn't think she was in the room the whole time until
quiet.
you just said her name.
Yeah, she's quiet.
About 5 seconds ago. So
I also realized she's the only one not coupled up. Oh, except for Sadie. Well, Sadie's in her...
she's in her own couple.
Sadie's in her own couple. I guess Pruitt's available. Gross.
So you're saying, because she's the only single woman in the room, that she's forgettable? Okay, thanks, goodbye.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was saying. There's no other way to interpret what I was saying. Single people
I leave
are
and
forgettable.
jump off the cliff. I just swan dive off the end of the infinity pool.
Yep.
Into infinity.
Yep.
I leave. I don't know her. I'm going to say they convince her to stay.
That's a half a ding. She does go. Going, yes. There is one very specific thing that Claire should have done that went along with leaving that would keep you alive, and we'll get to it.
I mean, I don't know how anyone's going to die at this point, so I couldn't know how I would know.
Yeah. So Will then stands up and he's like, just let her go, dude. Like, just let her leave to Eden and David.
Yeah.
And finally, both of them are like, okay, man. I hate that. Where they're like, calm down. And it's like, no. You were the one who was making it fucking weird. Okay. The only reason that I had to assert myself is because you were being a fucking creep. I'm not the one overreacting.
That's actually the best reaction. That I sometimes have that reaction to people on purpose when they're being assholes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool, dude.
Yeah. Because it's infuriating.
Because it's infuriating.
Yes. It's
like, it makes them so much more angry. And it makes me laugh.
I just totally Freudian slip because I was like, yeah, it makes me so. I
mean them.
I mean them.
I'm not talking about myself. Yep. No, when people flip out for no fucking reason at all, like, I'm just
cool,
like,
dude.
It's cool, man.
Why are you freaking out?
What happened to you? You having a bad day?
Yeah, I mean, I do the same thing.
Do you want to talk about it?
I do the same thing, and the reason that I know it's so infuriating is because if people do that to me, I turn into a literal Hulk made out of fire. So Claire then awkwardly is like, bye, everybody. And they're like, bye, Claire. At that point, Pruitt says, oh, are you in the Prius? I parked behind you. Pruitt then follows her out. What do you do? What does Will do?
Will does something. And it is.
I guess the clue I'll give you is be as creeped out as you want.
All right. I guess Claire's my friend. I fucking don't know anything about her.
She's very, very much
pretty
your friend.
non-existent.
Yeah. Well, she's single. So yeah.
I know that this is a joke we're saying, but it doesn't make me feel good.
I'll stop the joke.
Stop telling me to calm down.
I'll stop the joke. You mean the most to me in all the world.
Thank you.
You're the least invisible person I know.
Thank you.
Anyway, what do you do?
I guess I go out with her.
You do?
Well, I am like, you know what? We're going to go too.
Ooh.
Since you're leaving Claire, you know what? Let's go too.
Okay.
And we all go out together. And Will, I think, also walks her out for whatever reason.
1 point for you. Yes. Going out with Claire. Will doesn't listen to his full spidey sense. He gets up and he watches out the window.
Will.
All is well. Pruitt gets into his car, backs out. Then he gets out and directs Claire out of the driveway, making sure no cars are coming. And she makes her 3-point turn and starts to drive away. Pruitt raves, oh, hey, Claire, wait 1 second. And Will sees, so now like Claire's car is halfway covered by hedges. We can only see kind of like the trunk of it. And we just see Pruitt kind of jog over to the driver's seat. And at that point, hey, Will, can I talk to you? David comes up and says, can we talk?
I'm busy.
I'm busy. And he says, you know, I'm really happy that you're here. It's so important to Eden and me. And I mean, we chose you because you matter to us. And Will's like, you chose me? And he's like, to be here tonight, like to be here. And he's like, but you've been acting really fucking weird, dude.
Oh,
like,
I've been acting weird. Okay, David.
That was
okay.
Without meaning to, the best Ross Gellar impression you've ever done in your life. It was fucking
My sandwich. My sandwich.
It was perfect. It was so good. Front and back. Okay. So, pop quiz, Sammy.
When were you under me?
Pop quiz. We just gave you 3 Ross Gellar references. Please tell us what the situation was surrounding each of them. Okay. Ooh, 4 for a bonus. So he's like, but you've been acting weird. He's like giving me shit for locking the door, watching my friend move his car, which is fucking weird, and going through our shit. What the fuck?
No.
And
this
again,
is that thing.
But again, you're like, you lay it out like that, and you're like,
it makes me sound crazy, but I'm not being crazy. You're being crazy.
yeah. So
wait,
Will,
what was the third thing?
going through our shit.
Going through our shit. Right.
And so then Will's like,
he's not wrong.
right? So Will's like, you know what? I'm sorry. You're right, David. I'm sorry. And David then kind of is like, you know, I get it. And he like goes more into it. And he's like, I get why you think you have to be on the lookout. Me too. I mean, if what had happened to you had, you know, happened to me, it's like, and it could happen again. And Will's like, nope, stop. I don't pretend to know what went on with you and your wife. And you don't get to know about my son and how it feels.
Mm-hmm.
So Pruitt then comes back in and kind of interrupts the conversation. And he's just like, yeah, I felt really bad. My story scared her. I tried to convince her to stay, but I don't know. She seemed to understand. And he walks away.
Did she?
So now we see a slow-mo of feet going up the stairs, a slow-mo of a lavish feast, like a bird's eye view of the table with this unbelievable feast on it. People passing dishes and wine and stuff.
Now.
Yeah. Mundane dinner conversation, just people shooting the shit. Sounded like a very pleasant, not awkward dinner conversation. Slow-mo, and then all of a sudden kind of like the music gets a little creepier, sort of, and Will seems elsewhere. And then we see a flashback to a party. All the same people minus Kira, and it's a barbecue outside when he and Eden were clearly together, and there's little kids playing tag and all the noises of, you know, of a barbecue and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, all the noises of the table where he's actually sitting suddenly seem to be really loud and manic. So everything that was just normal sound conversation now feels like a fever dream. And in the flashback, we then hear a scream and there's chaos at the barbecue. And Will is like a flash to his face and he like looks like he's having some sort of like freak out. And we see him say the name Kira and he's not responding. And then we see that Will is like screaming in the flashback or at the table. Like it's unclear. Like who is screaming? Where are we? All of a sudden, cut to Will outside on the balcony as everyone is clearing the table. So like he's probably was like, I got to get some air. Then we cut to Will walking down one of the hallways in the home and he hears like some giggling behind a door and he looks through the crack and it's creepo Sadie looking at herself in the mirror like making grotesque faces and then kind of like laughing about them. Like, just a fucking creep. Like, what are you doing? Like, the drugs you're on, like, don't even look fun. Like, you just look like a fucking weirdo. And so he kind of like walks away, and then it cuts to Will outside again. So like at this point, like we're seeing that like Will is spending most of his time like away from the group, finding instances to walk outside and be alone. He's by the pool and he's sitting there, and Sadie comes out and she sits next to him and she's like, so things aren't good with Kira. And he's like, what are you talking about? She's like, I can just tell. You seem distant. And he's like, nope, you're weird. I'm going to make a call. And she's like, good luck, because of the reception.
Right, yeah.
And then she's like, you could just fuck me.
Whoa.
And he's like, go away. Like, just, what are you doing? And she's like, you don't like me? I can make you beg me just with my voice. You could hurt me if you want. Oh. And he was like, I don't want to hurt you. And she's like, I don't believe you. She leaves. And I'm like, creep. Tommy then comes out. And Will says to him, he's like, there is something wrong here. And Tommy's like, no, there's not. Claire has always been sexually awkward. Choi is totally unreliable all the time, because Will is also still like, where the fuck is Choi? Will says, he's like, I don't feel safe. And Tommy, again, it's hard to decipher, because what Tommy says, he's like, I get why you don't feel safe. Like, this is a weird place for you to be. This could not be a more uncomfortable situation, but you're acting fucking weird and it's freaking people out. And Tommy says, he's like, I love you. Come back in when you're ready. And he goes back in.
But also, like, go home.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't even mean like stay alive, go home. Like,
no, I just mean like leave. This isn't your place.
Yeah. Like, it's uncomfortable. Everyone knew it would be uncomfortable. And you're like, all right, I wasn't ready for this.
I'm now 100%. Let's
Turns
just go.
out I wasn't ready. Gonna go.
No
Love
one
you
would.
all.
Yeah. So
dinner's over anyway. Like,
let's
goodbye.
leave. Yeah. So Will stays, and he's just looking out over LA, that view. And he all of a sudden looks at his phone and he's like, oh shit, I have bars. So he has bars, and then he gets voicemail that popped up. So he plays it. Hey Will, it's Choi. I'm pulling up right now. It's about 7:00. But I fucking forgot to get dessert, and Gina's going to kill me. But I really don't want to have to go back out. Since you're not here yet, would you mind picking something up for me? All right, I'm walking in right now. I'll see you when you get here. Bye.
What?
Will is then like, what the fuck? So Kim, what do you do? What does Will do?
I leave again.
Okay.
For the sake of awkwardness and staying alive.
Yeah.
This time, mostly for staying alive. Yeah. Before, just pure awkwardness.
Right. Yeah.
And uncomfortability.
And the awkwardness was killing me.
So all one and the same.
Yeah.
He goes in. And says something to someone. Do I need to say who? Do I have to pick?
Not necessarily. Just give me a little bit more. Like, what does he say? Or
I think he tells someone
vibe
about
is he serving?
the voicemail.
Okay.
And I know everyone keeps telling him to calm down, but I don't think he's completely calm. I don't think he's like shouting it to the rooftops, telling everyone, being like, what the fuck? But I think he's like, dude, something's going on. Like, what the fuck? I got this voicemail.
Exactly. So cut to Will walking up the stairs back into the house, into the dining room area. And everyone is still around the table. And Will sits down next to Kira. And they're still playing the fucking dumb game. And
that
then
I want?
Yeah. And then the lights go out. But a lamp is still on, so I could tell that it wasn't that the lights went out. It was somebody turned off some lights. And then Eden and David come in with the birthday cake for Miguel. And he's like, but my birthday's not for another week. And they're like, who cares? Happy birthday. And so he blows out the candle and everyone's clapping. Happy birthday, Miguel. Where's Choi? Fucking Will. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? And he starts really prying at them. And he's like, why is everyone acting so fucking polite? There is some weird shit happening. And he's like, and who the fuck are you, Pruitt? And why are you here, Sadie? Like, what is going on? And he's like, 2 years and all of a sudden you're all happy and here and what the fuck? And it's a fucking cult. And where the fuck is Choi? And everyone is telling me to fucking calm down. And he stands up and he's like, our son died. That's real. You can't erase that. Ty was real. And Eden is like silent and almost in tears. Like the facade is cracking for sure. And David tells Will to calm down. And he's like, no, where is Choi? Why are the doors locked? Why are there bars on the window? Why is there phenobarbital in your bedroom? Why? And everyone is like, you're making a really weird scene, dude. And Kira's like, you know what? We're going to go. And Will is losing it. She's like, we're leaving. So she like kind of tries to pull him away. Ding dong. Everyone stops. Down below, Pruitt opens the door. It's fucking Choi. Will starts tearing up. And he's like, clearly like, okay, I'm fucking nuts. Like, what is happening? And so they're all just looking at him. And Choi's like, hi everybody. And David tells Will, he's like, it's okay. And Kira's like, you know, we should still go. And Tommy says, just give him a minute. And Will is crying now. And he's like, I'm so sorry, Eden. And she's like, it's okay, but you can't criticize how we get through this. Like, we've never done that to you.
She's not wrong.
Right? So Will's like, I know, and I'm so sorry. And David's like, you know what? It's okay. And you're our family. Again, I'm like, nothing you're saying is wrong. So Pruitt comes back upstairs. Will excuses himself. Kira follows. He's splashing his face in the bathroom. And there's one of those infinity mirrors. Or it's not an infinity mirror, but there's a mirror facing a mirror. So when you look at it, it looks like there's infinity wills going down. Flashback to him teaching his son how to wash his hands in that same bathroom. Cut to Will outside sitting by the pool on a bench now. Kira comes out. And she's like, we should go. What do you do? What do they do?
Go. I leave. Goodbye.
And what do they do?
I'm assuming they don't because the movie keeps going.
Yeah. So Will kind of ignores her saying, let's go, because he's just like, Kira, I'm not okay. And he's like, my son is dead. Where do I put that? And he's like, I should have been watching closer. And she's like, you couldn't have known what was going on. And he's like, they were just messing around. I mean, it was just some other kid. Like, he loved him. He's like, I shouldn't let them have that bat. And he's like, I've been waiting to die since that day. So this is where I had a different reaction to Will, where I was like, his passivity in the beginning, his sort of like blank slate, was an acting choice that made a lot more sense to me the second time around, where I was like, oh, he's just been blank and like not dealing with it.
Dead inside.
So Kira's like, you know, moving forward isn't a betrayal. And she's like, we can help each other. And he's like, I love you, Kira, but I don't think you can help. Kira then goes back inside. Cut to Eden cutting the cake. Will comes in. They all look at him. And he says, can I see his room? And Eden says yes. So he goes to his room. Opens the door. unfucking touched. Toys still all over the floor, bed unmade. Then we realize, oh wait, it's a flashback, because we see that the light outside is daylight. And he lays down on Ty's bed, and we see that they're looking at each other. They're laying facing each other, and they smile at each other. And then the flashback ends, and it's Will laying on the bed alone at night. And it's redecorated now. We realize that it has been redecorated. He was just imagining it. And he kind of looks out the window. He's just kind of standing in the room, and he looks out the window, and he sees David outside walking towards that statue that was out there, which I now realize was a memorial to Ty.
Oh.
And he's lighting a red lantern and looking out over the landscape, and then walks back in. Will then continues looking around the room at things on the wall. It appears to be things from Mexico. Opens a desk drawer, pulls out a laptop, opens it. On the laptop is just a video ready to play. POV down the hallway. The laptop video is Dr. Joseph talking directly to the camera. And he says, I know you have doubts. Skepticism can be contagious. I wouldn't have known either before I saw the new truth and shared it with you. I wouldn't have believed, but it was revealed so clearly. Remember the reward. This beautiful moment is upon us. Tonight is the night our faith is made real. The hardest thing is to start. Just take the step, believe, and give yourself over.
Hello?
Pruitt's outside the door. Will, let's go. Everyone is waiting. The end of the video monologue. I love you. I love you so much.
Fuck you, Dr. Joseph.
My heart is breaking. I'm waiting for you.
Fuck you.
He closes the laptop. Pruitt's at the door. Smiles. Will walks up to the dining room, and David and Eden are passing out more glasses of wine to everyone.
No.
But I noticed that she's pouring from a carafe, not a bottle of wine. Will is watching them be passed around.
This is a real Kool-Aid situation.
David kisses Eden. And David says, Eden, look at these people. They're so happy to be here with you. I think we should take a moment to look at each other and really look. Please raise your glass to a better world, to peace. Cheers. Kim?
What?
What do you do? What does Will do?
I. Let's see.
It's getting real culty. What do you do,
I'm
bitch?
not drinking the fucking Kool-Aid.
Okay.
I'm gonna fucking smash my glass onto the ground. And get the fuck out.
Okay.
And I don't care how crazy I look.
What does he do?
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I might even, just because I'm feeling generous, I'm just gonna real quick smash the glasses out of all my friends' hands too.
I love your
the culties can keep theirs.
I like your
hands. And run outside and leave.
Okay, what does Will do?
And the carafe, obviously.
Yeah. I wish you guys could have seen Kim's smashing hands. They were so great. Closed fingers. They look like flippers.
Yeah.
It was a real flipper situation.
Just flipper all the glasses. It's a matter of seconds. I'm doing that so quick.
Flip,
and then I'm out of there. It's like I'm a fucking cartoon.
What does he do?
So we raised our glasses. And they said, we're cheersing?
Cheers. Yeah, cheers.
Oh.
Like we've done a million times.
Vagina holes out. Tits out.
Everything out.
I take my shirt off. Boobs are flying. Dave. No, who am I? Will.
You're Will.
Will does not drink.
Okay.
And he does feel confronty. So I feel like he does another like fucking something like, tell me about Dr. Joseph situation kind of thing. or like what's in the why. I don't know. I feel like he gets confronty.
1.5. If you had done it hand in hand, you would have gotten 2 full points.
Oh,
The flippering. So
really? He does that?
Yeah.
He flippers?
He fucking throws his glass on the ground and then
Hilarious.
flippers everybody else's fucking
Oh
drinks.
my God. I didn't think he had it in him.
Yep. And he's like, don't drink. Don't fucking touch it. Will smashes a bunch of glasses, as many as he can get to. And he's like, Kira, we're leaving. At this point, Sadie lunges at him and she's like, you're ruining everything. And Will pushes her out of the way and she flies across the room, hits her head on the credenza, knocked unconscious, head bleeding.
Oof.
And everyone's like,
Remember
bitch,
that
you crazy.
Pruitt story we just heard?
yeah. And everyone's like looking at Will. Miguel rushes over and he's like, someone call 911. And we see David leave the room, but like slowly, like not emergency moving.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear Kira say, she's not breathing. And Miguel goes, she's breathing. And he goes, not Sadie, Gina.
Gina?
Cut to Gina, eyes wide, foaming at the mouth.
Did she drink?
She'd taken a drink
Oh my God.
before Will flippered her glass.
Gina!
Miguel jumps up to her and starts giving her CPR. No reception for 911, Kira says. David walks off somewhere. Pruitt smiles. CPR happening. Everyone's freaking out. Bang! David comes in with a gun and shoots Miguel.
What the fuck?
All slow-mo, just tinnitus sounds, where it's just like that ringing noise after a gunshot. Pruitt is trying to calm David down. And he's, and like mouths are moving, but we don't hear anything except the tinnitus sound. And he takes the gun from David and David's like kind of crying. And he like calmly takes the gun. He's like, it's okay. It's okay. Bang! Pruitt shoots Troy right in the fucking chest.
Troy?
Troy.
I was like, is there a Troy
No.
that I don't know about?
Troy, sorry. And walks away.
Jesus Christ.
Eden now also looks really scared. Like she's like, this was something was not the plan. This was not how she wanted it to go. Kira, Ben, and Will all now run down the stairs. Sadie slashes at Tommy with some sort of fucking whatever she has.
Sadie's alive again?
She had woke up. She came to, but like people didn't expect it either. So like she like wakes up and comes a slashing.
Okay.
And Ben runs one direction and Kira and Will run another. Sadie then lunges at Will. Will throws her off and he shuts a door. So they're all locked in a room. Will and Kira are locked in a room. Ben had run somewhere else. Sadie is outside of the door and very hurt, like for sure. Like she woke up, but she's hurt. And they, Kira and Will are looking out to the pool and they see Ben bust through a window. And David then tackles Ben and he's like trying to struggle. Pruitt comes out behind him, bang, shoots Ben in the head.
What the fuck?
Kira and Will are watching this whole thing and Kira's just like, fuck, I hate this dinner party. And Will tells Kira, he's like, Kira, get ready. Do whatever it takes. They're just people. Meaning like they don't have superpowers. They're just people.
I like that.
I like it too. I really liked it. Like it takes the mysticism out of it. It's like, you know, we just got to stay alive. This is where I realized I'm like, Will is a fucking Sammy.
Out.
So I then realized they're in the kitchen because it's dark or whatever. And like the layout of the house is bananas. They're in the kitchen. So what do you do? What did they do?
Grab all the knives.
Okay.
Hello, kitchen.
Okay. What
all
do they do?
the knives, all the meat tenderizers, and fucking
Well, the meat tenderizer
arm
is under
myself.
their pillows in their bedroom.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where I keep mine. And I grab all the knives and I mean, it seems like now's a good time to like fucking get out because I just saw them outside at the pool with the gun. Like I know that that's where they are with the gun.
And like I couldn't describe to you the layout of the house, but I think it's important to remember that like Will knows the house really well.
Yes,
So that's
no,
good.
Yeah. So try to leave.
Okay.
And I think they also arm themselves
Okay.
and also try to leave. You know what? I guess we'll do it hand in hand.
Yeah. They're super quiet, like very, 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 very quiet, as opposed to like just trying to run screaming or whatever.
Just an FYI, I wasn't running and screaming either.
I gave you a point for them arming themselves because it's very, very dark and chaotic. I can't tell you that they didn't grab a knife of some kind. And then we learn later what they do. Very dark. Will is opening the door very, very slowly to the rest of the house now. And he's sneaking through with Kira. And they hear David and Eden talking in another room. And we hear Eden crying. And she's like, we weren't supposed to hurt people like that. They were supposed to just go to sleep. It would be beautiful. And David is like, no. Like, you need to keep it together. And he's like, we just take it one step at a time. We can still finish this. And Eden's like, no, we can't. And he's like, it'll be quiet and we can rest. You can, Eden. You've just got to help me. You can't leave me. And she's like, no, this is wrong. And David is like, Dr. Joseph said it was going to be hard, but we'll have to finish it now. And she's like, this is wrong. And he's like, we were chosen. Remember, this is the only way we can leave this hurting. This is the only way we can stop hurting. We can leave all of this pain and shit behind us and we can still get there. Eden then gets up and follows David out of the room. Barely. Like she's fucking not doing well. Will then turns to Kira and almost inaudibly mouths, there's a door to the garage upstairs. And so we can see that Eden is going into the bedroom through the stairs. You know, you can look through the stairs. So they then go kind of the opposite direction and they come out and they see Sadie sitting slumped on the couch, almost dead, but conscious. But like dying as fuck, holding a fire poker. What do you do? What does Will do?
I mean, I stab her with the knives I have.
Okay.
Am I allowed to do that? And he...
Let's, for clarity's sake, let's say not both of you have knives. Not both of you are armed.
You mean me and Will or me and Kira?
Will and Kira.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, both of who? I mean, I think it's definitely okay. You know what? I think it's similar to the putting the coyote down situation. And we're going to put Sadie down.
That's you?
I mean, do I have a weapon or I don't?
I'm truthfully saying it is unclear.
Okay. Yes. Me. I'm killing her.
Okay.
And I think they are too. Maybe they grab the fire. If she's out of it,
She's really out of it.
then like grab the fire poker
Okay.
and kill her.
I'll give you 2 points for that. They don't kill her. She's dying.
Okay.
So he just quietly grabs the fire poker from her. Will walks over and slowly takes it. They then walk back up the stairs very slowly and quietly past the bodies, which is Miguel's body, Choi's body. Yeah, those are the only bodies right now. Oh, and Gina's body. And they get to the door and Will says, no, wait a minute. This isn't a door. There used to be a door here. Where's the fucking door? It's as if they had like made it not a door anymore. It's just
like
a wall
now.
Yeah.
Weird.
And Kira goes to the window and she's kind of panicking now. And she's like, maybe we can signal to someone outside. Will then hears Pruitt coming up the stairs. So they hide behind the table. It's very dark. Pruitt's coming up. Thwack! Will tries to hit him with the poker, kind of hits him, but like not effectively. They're wrestling. Pruitt bests him, and Pruitt now has Will in a chokehold and is suffocating him. As Kira, what do you do, and what does Kira do?
Hit Pruitt with the fire poker.
Okay.
And I run away out the door. Drive away. Sorry, Will. You got me into this shit.
1 point. Only because Pruitt has made it very clear that he does not intend there to be survivors. So if you ran without, we have evidence that Pruitt would go after you.
Okay.
So Kira comes up behind him and thwack hits him. Not dead. Thwack hits him again. Not dead. Pruitt like turns to her and is just like, ugh. Thwack hits him again. Not dead. Thwack hits him again. And I'm like, yes, bitch.
Hit
Like
forever.
she just
Good
fucking keeps hitting. Finally, he's dead. Will then gets up. They go into the next room. Eden's there with her own gun. She turns, points it at Will and says, I'm sorry, and shoots. Will goes down.
Damn.
But then we see it's not a deadly shot, and Eden is suddenly like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Kira looks at her. Eden turns the gun on herself and shoots herself in the stomach.
Oh my God.
Kira then goes to Will, and he's badly hurt, but it doesn't look like a kill shot.
Mm-hmm.
And Kira's like, we're not going to fucking die like this. And then we hear, so they're like kind of in a darkish corner, and we hear David say, Eden. David's walking through the house with a knife. What does Will tell Kira to do, and what do you do?
Get the gun that Eden just had.
Okay.
What I do.
Mm-hmm.
And what does Will tell Kira to do? I think same. Why would we not use the gun?
Very good impulse. Of course, go get the gun. So he tells Kira to go get the gun. And we see as David is kind of skulking through the house, trying to find where people are, we see that Tommy is still alive and he's hiding by the fridge. So Tommy and David are on the same floor. Kira and Will and Eden and Pruitt are all on the second floor in the dining room area. Pruitt's dead. Eden is shot in the stomach. And we see that Tommy's still alive. And Will answers David and says, she shot herself, David. And we hear David be like, that's good. That's good. That's good. Kira is then holding the gun and she's like, it's empty. There's no bullets left in it. So Will says anyway, we have a gun, David. David is now coming up the stairs. He can't see them yet.
Mm-hmm.
Again, floor plan, bananas, can't see them. We can see both of them. Doesn't matter. As he's going up the stairs, Tommy for the tackle from behind pulls David to the ground. They're wrestling on the ground, wrestling the knife from each other. Struggle, struggle, struggle. Kira and Will try to make it down the stairs now that this has happened. Tommy finally gets the knife out of David's hand, stabs him with the knife.
Yay.
David dies. Kira and Will are in the middle of the stairs and they hear a faint, Will. It's Eden. Will and Kira go back up. He kneels beside her. And she's like, I miss him so much. I just wanted to leave. I'm sorry. will you take me outside to him? So Will picks her up. Kira helps. Tommy follows them outside, and they lay her by Ty's statue. She lays down and she says, I hope we... And she dies. The three of them stand there and hug each other. Tommy then starts crying and says he has to go get Miguel's body. Tommy goes in alone. Will sees the red lantern again, and he walks over to it. And then he and Kira hear screaming in the distance. A bunch of sirens. Helicopters everywhere. They look out over the city. There's red lanterns all over the hills. The end. That's the invitation.
So a whole bunch of people that were all in the invitation were all doing that.
And I
same
realized
thing.
later that they said that. Like, Ben was like, my boss is into that. I know a lot of people in the invitation. Yeah. So Dr. Joseph, I guess Dr. Joseph killed himself. I don't get cults though, because like I'm like, what did you get out of this? Like, why did you want a bunch of people to die?
A bunch of people to kill themselves,
to
kill others and themselves.
Yeah, I don't get cults. I guess I don't understand.
I have so many questions. Well, I'm like, where was Choi?
Yeah. Well, let me count
and
up.
Then I have. Can I ask them now? I need to ask them now.
Oh, sure.
And then why was the garage door a wall now?
Okay. So Choi, it wasn't super relevant. Like, he had some excuse where he was just like, I got called back to work and I couldn't call you. Like, I couldn't get a hold of anybody. So like, I got there when I got there, which is so funny because that is how it was before cell phones.
Right. Yeah.
Where it's like you're meeting, like you're meeting someone at the movies or whatever, and it's like they don't show up, and you're like, I don't know. Like, it was basically that, and there's no landline. So that's where Choi was. Like, it was just, I'm so sorry. Like, I was walking in, and then I got a call from work, and there was an emergency, and I couldn't call I couldn't get a hold of Gina.
And everyone was going to drink, right? Including David and Eden and all of them.
100%. Yeah.
And so that's what everyone in basically LA was doing.
Yeah.
All the invitation people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so lighting up the red lantern was like, we're doing this tonight. Like, it was like a signal of like, it's beginning.
Right. What was the thing when Claire left that you're like, if you did one thing besides just leaving?
Gotten an escort out. Like, her going by herself and just Pruitt being like, let me move my car would have saved you.
So we're assuming she's dead.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess we don't know for sure, but it's like, yeah, she's dead. And then I'm sure Pruitt just hopped into the car, drove her car somewhere and whatever. Because we saw that Pruitt was just fucking shooting people at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, say no to cults.
Right? All right, let me count your points. Hey, Sammys. Can't get enough of us? God, you're so greedy.
Jeez.
Come join us over at our Patreon where we have tons more Kim and Kat for you.
Yeah, come get some BoneCon.
That's bonus content.
We've got t-shirts, we've got videos with research and fun shit.
What else we got?
We've got home games so you can play along, exclusive poll voting things.
And we have exclusive content that you can't get anywhere else.
So join us and become an official Sammy at our website, www.kimandkatstayalive.com. You can find Patreon and any of our links on social media at kksampodcast, or just go straight to patreon.com.
Search for us there.
We'd love to have you.
Can't wait to see you, Sammys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, bitch. Did you just hit yourself in the face?
I did.
Cool. For Dead or Alive, you got 5 out of 11.
Great.
And then for questions, you got 22 out of 28.
Nice.
And then that gives you a total of 27 out of 39. It's pretty good. I think it's good. I think you did great. So yeah, that was the invitation.
Wow, that was good.
Not the visit.
Not what I was expecting,
Nope.
but I actually don't know what to expect from the visit either,
Yeah,
except old people.
Old people.
So
That's all there is.
besides
to know.
that,
Yeah.
that was good. I liked that.
It
That
was
fun.
good. It was really good. It was definitely,
fucked up.
I don't know what I was going through at the time that I watched it the first time, but Will's character like really annoyed me the first time I was watching it, and not at all this time. So I don't
And
know
what
what was
was-
happening.
I know we slightly talked about it throughout, but when you were at the beginning, you were like, "Oh, I'm glad I watched it instead of you watching it."
Because of your cult problems.
You thought I would be on their side?
No.
Wow,
No.
Ketrin.
It was just,
wow.
it was kind of what we talked
I don't even
about.
know if I could sit next to you anymore.
Well, it was
You
kind of,
don't even know me.
it was kind of what we talked about.
Is it
that,
because
like,
I'm single?
Yes, it's because you're single and invisible. No, it was kind of what we talked about, that just like the words they were saying
Right.
out of context sound great, but it was just a creep factor. That it was like, do you like, as the one most likely to get sucked into a cult, what kind of spidey sense does Kim have? And I didn't know. You've proven me very happily wrong, that I think your
Good, thank
your
you.
culty sense is really developing
I think that's
nicely.
pretty on point.
Yeah, but you see what I mean? It was all words
Yeah.
that we even say.
Because there's lots of things like that I'm actually super into.
100%.
But I do put my spidey senses
Yeah.
out.
And I definitely think that the difference was like, I liked that there was a very specific differentiation where it's like Dr. Joseph didn't do shit. Dr. Joseph didn't save anybody. And it's like any cult that makes you think like there's a savior entity.
Yeah.
That's where it's fucked.
Red flag.
Right. So yeah, that was the invitation.
Fun.
Yeah. So May 2020 have no cults for you.
Yes.
And may your culty spidey sense be attuned.
Yes.
This has been Kim and
Kim
Stay Alive.
Maybe.
So until
next week,
stay
stay
alive.
alive.
And out of cults. Ghosted me.
I'm done.